Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Friday. I'm so glad you're here. We are celebrating very large here at the Phineas Wright House this weekend. Amelia is turning 12. Can you even? I don't even know how exactly that happened. And that means that in March, she will have been mine for 10 years. It will be 10 years since we came home from China. I can't believe it. Isn't time just phenomenal? Sometimes it feels like it's going so slow, like, oh my gosh, can we just get on with it already? And then sometimes you blink and a whole decade passes. All the more reason for us to be intentional with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our inspired actions, with the things on our to-do list, with the things in our closets, in our drawers, on our calendars. Oh my goodness. Lucky us, it's January. Lucky us, it's a 1 year. That's 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. That's how we get to a 1 year. If you remember our episode with Dina Barron a few months ago, she talked about 2025 being a 9 year and us needing to complete with everything that we are wanting to complete with. Otherwise, we're carrying it with us for the next 9 years. And here we are in a 1 year, and also coming on to, in the Chinese zodiac, the year of the horse. There is a lot of momentum. So all the more reason to set our intentions deliberately, to hold space for ourselves, to ask those questions. What do I want? How do I want to feel in my body, in my relationships, in my work, in my finances, in my travel, in my hopes and dreams, in my passion projects, in my volunteer work, whatever it is? We have this opportunity. I mean, we have the opportunity all the time, but I feel like collectively we take the opportunity at the beginning of the year to recalibrate and reorient ourselves with what's really important. And so I am holding space for you tomorrow, Saturday, January the 10th. Amelia Jade's happy birthday. She's with her dad, which is why I can play with you. And the link is down in the show notes, so you can register for that. But we will either help identify what your word of the year is, or transfer that concept, phrase, idea, intention into a mind map and see how this is going to infiltrate every area of your life that is so important to you. So I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. Hang out with me. It's a good time. We're holding space for ourselves, and that is always time well spent. Also, time well spent is right here on the podcast, because I am talking to the coolest women. And I just mentioned Dina Barron, which, gosh, if she had $1 for how many times I have mentioned her name since I met her on our interview, she would be rolling around in it, because that was a really pivotal conversation. And she is such an incredible connector. She has introduced me to several really fabulous women, a couple who have like just moved right into my heart as if we have been friends forever and ever. Amen. And oh my gosh, one of them I'm going to have on a coffee chat tomorrow morning also. So I'm super excited to share that with you. Eek, so many good things. Okay, but today we have Candy Motzek. She is a coach for coaches. Along the way, she has also become a best-selling author, a top podcast host of the show She Coaches Coaches. She helps ambitious coaches go from startup to fully booked. Coaching transforms lives, and she believes being a coach is a calling. She helps coaches get unstuck and feel more confident so they can play bigger, sign clients, and create more meaningful success. As a recovering corporate executive and engineer, she knows that even though the world might put you in a box, it doesn't mean you have to stay there. It's time to break free and start living the fulfilling life you desire. And she is going to share how she is doing that in big and small ways with all of us right now. Please enjoy this amazing conversation with Candy Motzek. Wonderful, Candy. I am so looking forward to this conversation. It's so great to see you again. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to see you again, too. And it's been only just a few weeks, but it feels like I've known you for a while now.
I know. That's what I'm loving so much about this podcast and this whole world that it's introduced me to. I have these wonderful guests that magically and divinely appear. And one of those women was Dina Barron, who was
Yeah.
on the podcast a few weeks ago. Totally amazing. And then she introduced me to you. And I had the joy and pleasure of being on your podcast. And now here you are. And it's all just so fun. I feel like the universe is vetting my new friend group, and it's just delightful.
I love that. And that this thing about how, 30 years ago, you would never think about creating relationships with people all over the globe, right? It's just these little points of light and these points of connection as opposed to who lives 5 miles away from you. To be able to just get rid of some of those barriers, I think is amazing.
Yes, and it's interesting because I think it is just a story we tell ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
During the pandemic, I had at the beginning of 2020, I was in an online business course that required Zoom meetings and then we were in accountability groups, so we were on calls multiple times a week. And then when the whole world switched to Zoom, it was already my practice. But I realized as I was talking to people, they would say, "Oh, my friend Cindy, well, we haven't actually met," but it's like, no, she's my friend. Like it has
Yeah,
nothing to
right.
do with that means I'm better friends with the lady that works at the supermarket than I am with this woman who sees into my soul. So it's been a beautiful way to reframe into a narrative that is more delightful and fun and actually my truth.
Yeah, I agree. Mine as well. I have friends that I know I will probably never meet them in person. And it
Right?
doesn't make it any less of a friendship because we don't happen to be able to go to the local coffee shop together. Like, that's okay, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, all of it is of our own creation. So we can make it okay or make it not really mean you're friends.
Yeah.
So
And why
silly.
would I do that? Why would I
I
do that?
know. Why do we do so much of this with narratives that aren't in service?
Yeah, agreed.
Habits. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. I could obviously talk to you all day. And I'm very eager to get into this conversation, but I don't want to forget to ask you the question that I ask everybody. And that is, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
Mm, yeah. So for me, saying yes to myself in this season is different than it has been in past seasons. And I'm learning to relax more. Not relax from the place of laissez faire and it doesn't matter, but to allow and relax. And that has been a long time coming. And I'm still learning by a long shot. Like, I would love to just get in there and have deep control and move all the parts around the way I want it. But there's something really special about the flow that happens when you take your hands out of the mix and just allow spirit to bring amazing things and opportunities and perspectives to you. That life is a heck of a lot more satisfying. So for me, it's this learning how to relax, learning how to allow and let go, and in that, taking care of my nervous system.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I used to pride myself on being like an adrenaline junkie, right? Like, and that was an okay thing, and not in the situation where I would go and do risky physical things, not at all. But my previous career, firefighting, is a term that's used in corporate, where there's big problems and you just dive in and you fix them, and I love that. But it really didn't do a great job on my nervous system. It became really addictive. And then this
Yes.
whole thing about then normal didn't feel normal anymore. Normal felt
Mm.
too boring. And so I think this is the other side of that pendulum moving, is to come to this place of relax and allow and not have to rush and not have to push. Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's so beautiful because in that there's also, of course, this trust and certainty that there's momentum in the relaxing. Like you're not going to miss out on what's meant for you. You're not going to, miss your chance, lose out on something. There are greater forces at work that actually go faster when we stop trying to do it on our own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if you've got a really great, pot of soup on the stove and you're stirring it, you don't have to stir it
Yeah.
continuously. You put it on simmer and you just let it do its thing, right? Like, you don't go and mess with it and then add another carrot and find some more spices and add some more salt and all of that, because then you ruin it. And I think that that's what I've done with my life, is
Mm.
done all the messing with it that probably wasn't needed, and I just made things more difficult. Right? That's what it comes down to. How do we make things less difficult for ourselves?
Right. And there's so much trust that's associated with that. And you mentioned like nervous system regulation.
Yeah.
So how is that playing out for you? And the reason I'm asking, obviously, I'm terribly interested. And like I think we're all looking to recover or shift or course correct from a behavior that is just simply not in service and we don't even desire it any longer, but it is a habit. I i was very proud of my full calendar for many, many years. Oh, being busy like that's how I do it. Like that's, and I sleep really well, so don't worry, I'm all rested. I can be this busy again tomorrow. And just to know, to really know, it is safe to be at rest. A few months ago, I couldn't even utter those words without tears in my eyes because it felt, oof, are you sure? Like, are you
Yeah.
sure it's safe? Because that feels incredibly tender and decadent in an invitation. But I have no social proof that resting is going to get anything done.
Yes, 100%. Right? I mean, and that's just the way we've been socialized. That's the way the world is. And there's been so much of a focus on that, the masculine energy, not men, but the masculine
Yeah.
energy of doing and overdoing and conquering and climbing the next hill. And that's what's been modeled for us, right? And so we kind of think that in much of our life, if we're not doing things, we're not meaningful, we're not connected, we're not able to create a really deeply fulfilling life. It like it's a strange thing to think that the only way to create a fulfilling life is to do more. And those things are opposite sides of the coin. But my brain doesn't quite believe it yet. Right? Like my
Yeah,
brain thinks, no, 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 I get it, but I think I should just do some more. Right?
right. But I really like this part.
Yeah.
So I should spend 12 more hours at my desk making sure that this is going to work out the way I want it to.
And I think there's a yes and here. Like
Mhm.
it's important to do the work, like
Right.
whatever is called for.
Yes.
But there's a place where it goes over the edge of kind of grasping at it and pushing it and making it work instead of just saying it's not so much about the number of hours, but it's about the quality of the intensity. So for
Yeah.
me, there's a place where I can feel very creative and very inspired, and I can get a lot done. I
Yeah.
find that very satisfying. And then I'm at the point where that part is sort of complete, but now it's like there's a push that wants to happen. It's like, well, then I should just do a
Mhm.
little bit more. And so there's a place where I come over this edge of that was good. I created something good. It's all good to, but I should do a bit more. And I'm noticing that when I turn that corner, then everything gets tight and pushing, and my focus gets very narrow, and I kind of grip my jaw. And so to learn how to look for the what might seem to the outside person as a lot of work, but is really filled with joy. Where is that happening versus where does now it become an obsession compulsion thing? And
Mhm.
so that's the edge that I'm trying to learn. I found it this weekend
Ooh,
and then I
fantastic.
lost it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And today is Thursday, so hopefully I'll find it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that's the dance,
Yeah, totally.
right? And we have to overdo it to know what the balance feels like. And I mean, it's just like how much you need to eat to satisfy your body by under eating or overeating. And same
Yes.
with over anything.
And I think using that mentality of an experiment, right? Like, about eating. Well, what happens if I undereat? Well, I could always have a little bit more, but I could just stop and sort of see. I know what happens when I overconsume. I know what happens when I overwork, but the under consuming, the underworking, now that's an edge that I've never tried before.
Well, that is fascinating. How does this play out in your relationship with support?
Mm. Yeah. I'm not great at asking for support.
Mm,
Yeah. I'm really good at being quite self-reliant.
yeah.
And I mean, that's just a habit of growing up the way I did. I am getting better
Yeah.
with certain people. If it's a trusted relationship, it's easy to ask for
Okay.
support. But if it's not a trusted relationship, then I go to this side of, I'll just do it myself. It's okay.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
How does this play out in your business?
Hmm. So it plays out in it's not micromanaging, but it's not releasing
Yeah.
what needs to be done. And then there's a place of working with maybe a team member that I don't necessarily allow them to really take the reins. And that takes time for me to be able to trust them. Like the woman who is my VA, I trust her implicitly. She does what she does. She does it amazing. She has a beautiful creative eye. And I really trust her. But I've had other VAs that I've worked with that they are doing it. I've shown them what needs to be done, but I still feel like they're not quite getting it. And so that oversight about, so are you going to get it? Or
Right.
even like it's not that they have to do the thing exactly the way I asked them to do it, but I want them to bring something special to it. And
Exactly.
something special isn't the amount of work, but it's like, hey, have you thought about this idea?
Right.
Oh, I tried it this way because I thought it might be interesting. Instead of barely doing the work, but then not adding anything of themselves or of their,
Hmm.
of their heart to it.
Right.
That's the piece. As soon as I see that, then I'm like, oh, okay, now we're partnering. I like
Right,
that. I like partnering,
exactly. Like,
right?
what else don't I know? Yes,
Hmm.
and it's fascinating where it does shift into a curiosity
Yeah.
of, there is so much in, growing your team that where we want someone to get us. Like, you have to be, for me, if you're going to be on this team, I think it's important that hospitality is something you value, whether you provide it for other people or you just appreciate it when you receive it. Like, that's a value. I think
Hmm.
it's very important that somebody is committed to their own personal and spiritual development because
Great.
I think that is what we're doing here. And if that isn't, if you don't get that, or you think that's woo or whatever, that, like, I just don't think it's going to be a good fit.
Yeah, definitely. Because then
Right?
you've got a values clash, right? When you
Yes.
base your life on growth and exploration and experimentation and deepening your awareness of yourself and the world, and then you have somebody on your team that isn't of that same value,
Right.
doesn't practice the same value, then it's always going to be a conflict, right? They
Yes.
value other things. There's nothing wrong with who they are, but they're not necessarily a great team member for you.
Right. And I think what happens in this expansion, whether we're expanding in our business or outsourcing some things for our homes, or whatever, someone's going to color our hair, we're not going to do it ourselves anymore, whatever that
Sure.
is, there's such an opportunity, I'm finding, at least for me, to really investigate what is important to me and everything else isn't, because someone is not going to do it the way that I do it, and that gets to be okay
Hmm.
if these other values are met. And of course, I want someone that's going to do it like me or better than me.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in paying somebody to do something that I have to redo. And how much of that experience is in my own, yes, my relationship with support, but also, oh, let's shine a spotlight on my relationship with control. And
Hmm.
what are the elements, like, is, if we're talking about team for business, is growing the business a value of mine? Because if it's a value, then I'm going to have to consider my relationship with control.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
there are all of these shifts that we need to make. And I'm eager to hear how you're implementing those, and how you're, like you said, regulating your nervous system in that process.
So there's this fine line between where is it a training issue? Where is it a place where I haven't communicated well enough to that individual
Mhm.
versus where does it matter, not matter enough to them
Yeah,
to do the work?
right.
And to do the work, for me, that common thread is that the place where they bring themselves and their sort of their heart to it, to put it bluntly. So, just a short story. When I first hired Mariana, she's been working with me for years and years. She lives in Greece. She's fabulous. I love her.
Mm.
When I started on Upwork, and what I did is I created a little project, and then I went out and I hired three different individuals to do the same project, and thought, let's just see how it goes.
Right.
It's a, it's a little piece of work. They'll do the work, it'll get done. And in that, I'll get a flavor for who the person is, the type of work that they do, and the way they are. And so, I vetted those people. They were all seemed quite good. They were all top performers according to the platform. And one of them, too late, kind of not really engaged, not really doing a great job with it, wanted an extension time wise. And then another just kind of just sort of did it. And it was just like, it was okay. Like they did what was expected. They were the C plus student, tell me to do X and I'll do X, but
Right.
no, I'm not going to add a comma after
Right.
X. And Mariana did the work. It's not that she did it incredibly fast, but what was more important is that she came back and said, well, I've done it. Here it is. But have you considered?
Mm.
And I was like,
You're hired.
that sentence was everything to me, right? It was
Yes.
like, okay, I have not considered that. Or, and sometimes she'll still say, well, think about it in this way. That makes all the difference,
Right,
right?
because that's
So,
partnership, that's
yeah,
collaboration, that's we're co-creating. That's
yes.
beautiful. I
Yeah. So
love
she
that.
adds more because she brings herself to the work. She does the work, she does a great job,
Mhm.
but she brings her with it, right?
Right? And that resonates because that's how you do it.
That's right. But how often does a coach or a business owner or any kind of entrepreneur, when you've got a team, are those people bringing themselves?
Yeah.
And that's not something that you can train them to do. That is something
Right.
that they feel intrinsically is important to them. And it's a little bit of a vulnerable place for them too to come and
Mhm.
say, "Hey, have you considered this? Have you thought about it in this way?" But that to me speaks volumes about the kind of individuals that you've got surrounding you.
Right. Last summer, I was doing some chores. I had committed the month of July to behind the scenes foundations, which is a declaration because me doing anything behind the scenes, like there has to be a lot of intention because I'm not really a behind the scenes kind of gal. Like I'm like, here I am, I'm pulling weeds. I'm doing this. I like this. But I really wanted to go into my trips to France and I wanted to return to a clean slate. There were a lot of things happening at the end of the summer, and it was important. I was going to be this new person. And so I was attending to all the piles, the farm chores, the weeds, the ironing, my QuickBooks, all the things. And in the past, when I've been doing these chores and, the yard is alive, so I can't just click, check mowing off my list and then, yay, I don't have to do that again until next year. Like, nope.
Right.
Oh,
Nope.
darn it, it's raining, which is great. I don't have to water, but now everything's going to grow. So I have in the past been thinking, okay, I need help. It's too much for one person. And I've had some, kind of evolutions in that thought process as well, because as a part of my divorce settlement, I wanted the house. And so I instantly created a narrative that meant, well, I want it. So I'm the one that has to do it all. That's
Oh,
interesting. Okay.
yeah.
And then okay, I don't okay, I get I don't have to do it all, but I need help. And where am I going to find these people that love it, or that want to do things that are hot and sweaty for some place that they don't love or, whatever. And it was so fascinating because without realizing it, of course, I was completely focused on the lack of help. Even though I was saying, I need help, I want help, it was all the energy was focused on the lack of said help.
Right.
Something magical happened, and I was pulling weeds. I was blowing sweat off of my top lip because I couldn't get my gloves off fast enough to wipe my face. And I had this idea, what would it feel like to be fully supported? Like, oh, what
Oh,
would my days? Ooh, and that felt so good in my body. I asked myself another, like, what would my days even look like? Oh my gosh, I would go to the Cape. I would explore New England. I would go to brunch with friends. Oh my gosh, I would be normal. I would be like able to do, like, I would go places with my daughter. I could go on a date. Men could woo me and take me to dinner, and I wouldn't be looking at my watch to go to bed at 8:15 because I'm so exhausted because I've been doing chores all day. I thought, oh my word. I went in the house. I just unleashed this beautiful list of all the things I would do if I was fully supported, and not
Yeah.
what if I sold this house and moved into an apartment with no chores. No, I had the actual realization, oh, I get to have everything I want and be supported by people that are thrilled to be paid to do this work. It was just such a glorious shift in my energy and mindset. And nothing changed. Like, I haven't hired anybody, but I feel so much better about it.
Isn't that interesting how that
Yeah.
just that shift in perspective can really change your emotions? This fellow who I'm sorry I can't tell you his name, but he has this idea about affirmations, which is different than affirmations, right?
Yeah.
And so it's why questions. And so it's why is it so easy for me to? Why is it so easy for me to find support?
Ooh,
Why do I feel so peaceful about being supported? Why do I feel so worthy of being supported? And so, what I really like about these affirmations is it puts you in solution in this
right.
open, like, why is it so easy? And now you're out there looking for evidence. And it's like, well,
Right.
because other people get supported. Well, because there was somebody I'm sure there's somebody who would love to work in the garden as much as I do. Like that would be their dream to be able to do that,
Right.
right? So why it's these why questions, which are unusual for coaching questions. Usually they tell us not to say the word why because it makes people shut down. But
Ooh,
when we do this,
interesting.
why is it so easy?
Yeah.
Why could this be the perfect thing? It gets us into that inspired, curious,
That's
playful mode,
right.
right? I just love that.
I
So
love that
that's what,
too.
when you were talking about this story about how you felt so different, I'm thinking to myself, it's like, well, every day, why is it so easy for me to find people to
Right.
support me, right? And
Right.
they'll start coming out of the woodwork, right?
It's so true because your body doesn't know that that's not happening right now. Just
Yeah.
like when we're telling a story about something that was not enjoyable and our chest tightens and we get scared again of whatever happened, our body doesn't know that's not happening right now.
Yeah.
So when we are in that better feeling space as well, that energy rises. And then, of course, I'm a magnet for help. And of course, it happens.
And what's crazy is it's not like this isn't woo. This is
No,
like
it's
you
science.
feel better, so you're standing looking out at the world instead of going, with your head dropping down and you got a smile on your face. Well, then people look at you and they smile and they come over, right? Like that's
That's
not
right.
woo, that's just life, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So you mentioned coaching, and I know you have this fantastic podcast, She Coaches Coaches, and you are obviously a coach. What are you finding in this work that just continues to inspire you to keep it up? And how did you get started? All the good things.
Yeah. The thing that I love about coaching is the individual conversations.
Yeah.
Just that when you see somebody who figures out that they want something different than what they've got, and they start to realize that this could actually happen, like I could actually do this, and they get to create a completely different life. And so sometimes it's the in the outer things of their life, but sometimes it's just how they feel about their life. And both of those are equally as satisfying to me.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily I work with coaches and I help them start their business and build their business to the point where they could quit their job if they so chose. And why that's so satisfying is because most of these people, most of them are women. They're professionals, they're very experienced, they're very successful on the outside. And on the inside, they are like, oh my gosh, everybody else has been at the top of the list for all these years. What about me? And so this is their chance to do something that they really want to do. So to support them and to help them create that and to walk through that path of can you really do it? The answer is yes. Do you really want to? Oftentimes the answer is yes. How can I do it? Well, everybody has their own unique path, but there's the underlying principles, right? So that's what I love to do. The previous question about how did I get into coaching was I used to work a corporate 9 to 5. I had a successful career. I had all the bells and whistles and the nice title and the bonuses and all that. Um, and I was just so god awfully unhappy. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah,
And I just thought that I was unhappy myself. Like I would
right.
cry every Sunday night because I
Oh,
had to go to work on
honey.
Monday. And I went on a cruise with my mom and daughter, and we booked one of those, nice photo packages.
Oh,
And the
yes.
photographer looked at me and she said, "You just look like the saddest person I've met,"
Mm.
which was like,
Sometimes it
wow,
takes a stranger.
wow. Right. Anyway, um, so I realized that I had this talent, this thing that would
Mm,
happen. It didn't matter what job I was, if I was, more junior or more senior. Every time I was working in an office, people would walk into my space. And most of the time, I had a private office in those days. They would close the door and they would sit down. They say, "Hey, have you got a minute? I got something to talk about." And
Hmm.
most of the time, it was their life, how they were feeling, maybe their mental health, just life. And so
Mm.
people would just show up and walk in and close the door, and it really made it difficult after a while to get much work done, but
Right. And
that
I'm
was
assuming you were not the director of HR.
no,
Right.
I was
So
other
yeah.
director-ish, senior director stuff,
Right,
right?
but it's not something like this was a normal part of your role there. It's you really had a gift and you
Yeah.
were let people knew that they could trust you with these conversations that were vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fun is it was people who were brand new, maybe students doing internships, but it was also
Mm,
like the VPs they would do. So it
yeah.
was like, this is kind of cool. So I figured out it was a thing. And
I
then
love
eventually
that.
it took me a while, but I took my coach training and then I thought, yeah, these conversations, they're every conversation is different and it's meaningful to the person.
Yeah.
And that helps them to change their life and to be that more aligned, authentic, fulfilled version of themselves. And so that was how it started, and I still love it. I still love doing
Right.
those. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're people, so they're no two are the same.
No. No.
Oh,
Exactly.
it's really fun. And you just have this beautiful opportunity to reflect back to people. I mean, we know everybody has the answer inside of them. It's just who do you need to help mine that so that
Yeah.
you can find it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then to be there, when they need to do the courageous stuff
Ah,
and remind them that look at how far you've come. Look at these things that you've done that you never thought you could do. You can do this next one too when you're ready, when you decide.
right. And like we said earlier, this is a long game. This
Very much.
is we are we're in it. And
Yeah.
so, you might not stay with the same coach for 10 years, but you will still need a coach in 10 years. Like you're just, it's a beautiful dance and journey. We're all just leading each other home.
Agreed. I did an interview for my show with a woman a few years ago, and I said to her, "So, what do you think coaching used to be, 100 years ago, 200 years ago?" And she had an interesting response because I had some preconceived thoughts about how I would answer that. And she said, "I don't think coaching could have existed 200 years ago.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think that we were so tangled into the rules and the way things were, and the limitations of our life, I don't think people could have done it. Like there was no way that people could have moved out of those societal roles that they were placed in. You know, were you the good
Mhm.
daughter? Were you the loving wife? Were you the, you know, breadwinner? What were you? Those roles were so tight on us, and she didn't think that it would even have had a place. And that really made me think about
Right.
how much we've grown as people to
Right.
be able to bring that in and have that as part of our lives, you know?
Right. I mean, just the insulated nature of, and how really nearsighted everybody was. You would only know what was in your village or in your space and
Right.
not have the connection, if based on education or literacy, or even like when were newspapers invented, and all of these things. But this global connectivity that we have now allows us to see people that inspire us, people that can help us be like people that inspire us. And we can see that, oh, it's not crazy that I want that. That's not, yes, hospitality
Exactly.
can be lucrative. Ask Martha. Like it,
Yeah.
this is a thing. It's just fun. Evolution is
It's amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, agreed. Right. Like, you know, when I think of what you do to give people that experience of being welcomed and to feel like they belong and to have a space where exactly who they are and what they're doing right now is just perfect. Like, what a gift, you know?
Thank
And
you.
isn't that kind of what hospitality is? It's a
Yeah.
gift, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
a welcoming for people.
Thank you. That's so kind of you to reflect that back. I received that. It's just
Mm.
been in my heart forever to be the venue. I don't know if it's from my wedding planning days and working with clients that had a dream in their heart, but not a space to make that day happen yet, and in search of that. And I think it was that searching for the right space for a dream to manifest made me want to have the space so that when someone was looking for it, I'm an easy yes, because this is my dream came true on this property, and it's a space where other people's dreams come true as well.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a connection? So many women that I've spoken to over the years, they don't have a space within their own home that is theirs. The husband might have a man cave, maybe the kids each have their own bedroom, but there's no space that's hers.
Right, that doesn't have an obscene amount of chores associated with it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if anyone's like, oh, well, she has the kitchen and the laundry room. Oh, gee,
Oh,
thanks. Did you
yay.
also
Give me
buy
the
her a
laundry
blender
room,
for
would you?
Christmas? Like, oh my gosh.
Or you know, like in the formal living room or something like that. But it's like it's shared space. It's not her
Mhm.
space. And I
Mm.
think for many women, maybe their only space is maybe the ensuite, you know, where
Mhm.
they do their makeup or their closet. But that's kind of sad. Like
That
this
is
is deeply
sad.
sad. So I wonder, with you providing this, like you had this desire to have this
Mhm.
space. I wonder how many women have a desire to have a space but don't think that they can have that, right?
Yeah. Oh, that question is so juicy. I love it. I think for me, there's so much connection to that. And in wanting the space, also with the desire to share the space, right? And my ex-husband would always talk about, like, this house is too big. It's too, like, we don't need all this space. I'm like, what are you even talking about? There's only two guest rooms. Like, I need more guest room, a longer table and more guest rooms. That is always on my list because I want there to be a jovial, leisurely dinner party that
Mm.
ends with people saying, "Oh, I don't want to drive home." And then me saying, "You don't have to." Like, it's so good. You could just go upstairs. There's robes, there's toothbrushes. It's all good. Plenty of beds. That's so fun. And it was really, when he lived here, of course, like he had the closet and all the things, and I'm in every other closet in the house and stuff in the attic, and when he moved out, like I moved in and thought,
Mm.
oh my gosh, not only is this house not too big, it's like, it has all the space for all of my things. And that is when, like, I was always a creative person. Interesting. This is so fun. I was a creative person outside and in other people's spaces, for example, wedding planning. And once I actually moved in to my home and my clothes, half my wardrobe is no longer in the attic, everything is in a closet. Well, I turned a room into a closet, so it's in one very large closet. And it just feels like that space created a whole bunch of margin for new ideas and new dreams and new plans. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a beautiful space. I mean, I think it's like in your office, if you're working from your home, the space I'm right now, my office is also in the laundry room ironing suite. So right now it's great because all the ironing's done and there's no laundry. But sometimes this space reminds me, do not look to the right. That's where all of your chores
I
are.
just need to move my camera just one iota, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But there's so much to creating an environment where creativity can grow and where your business can grow. Tell me about the beautiful space you're in.
Yeah. This really makes me think about this having a space, and it's not to fill it with stuff, but it's to
Yeah.
fill it with you and the
Yes.
things that you have that represent you and that mean something to you. So I don't have a ton of stuff. And that's okay because that's not what I need. But to have my own space, that was a thing. So I work out of my she shed. My husband and his friends built
Love it.
this little house. It's about 150 square feet
So cool.
in the backyard, and it's my place. It's got windows on
Mhm.
just about every wall, and nobody comes in here. Like when he first built it, he said, "Oh, I could have the guys in there for a beer," and I'm like, oh
Mm-mm.
no, I'm thinking. And it just was never convenient because all my plants are in here and my books are in here and my soft, fluffy blanket and my crystals and my cards and all these things are
Oh,
in
I
here,
love
right?
it.
But I just love it because now every day when I go to work, I walk down the little path through my yard and I have my shed and it's my space. And that commute allows me to separate work from home, but it also is a place where like when I'm in here, this is me. This is my zone, you
Ah,
know? So it doesn't have to be a lot of space like you've inhabited the entire home and the
right.
space around it. And for me, it's just this little shed.
Yeah.
It's the same thing,
Yeah.
right? It's the same thing, right?
Right. I love this. I love that it starts with desire,
Mm-hmm.
then permission,
Mm-hmm.
then acquisition,
Yeah.
right? And then inspiration and what you're going to do in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, like you said, it can be any size. I'm working with my dear friend is an interior designer, and she's offering these virtual, like, is there a space in your house that you want to rebrand because it doesn't match the woman you're becoming? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, my office. Like, this laundry room situation is it's so interesting because so the house is large, but it was built in 1785, so there's not I don't have countless options for where to put my
Mm,
desk.
right.
Right? So it does take creativity. It does take some nuance and intention. So I love that, even just a fun experiment slash homework assignment, and you can tell us, listener, you can let Candy and I both know if you've done this, but what would it feel like to claim a corner as your own? Whether
Yeah.
this is a place where you hold your morning routine, your morning practice, whether this is space that, like, that's your chair and your blanket and your lamp, and you drink out of this cup, and it's you're here for these hours, and everyone knows that you're at work right now. Like, this is you doing the work of you.
Yeah. I love that question. And I think that there are a lot of women that they have this sort of, there's like a hunger for their space, but they don't know that that's the thing that they're looking for. And so when you realize that a chair in the corner with a lovely throw and your books and maybe a beautiful plant or flowers on the little table, that as long as it's yours and nobody else sits in there and throws their shoes off, like just this chair in the corner can be enough. For me, I'm a super big introvert, so I always wanted something where I could close my door because
Mm,
the house is too, like the day to day of the house is too loud for me to meditate and to read without going, no, I don't know where the controller is. Don't care. I don't care about your glasses or your keys or any of these other things, right? If you can find a corner and you have your chair, this is all great, but maybe consider getting some kind of a screen.
yeah.
Something that creates a little bit of a visual barrier. Maybe it's a couple of interesting plants that just so they can't sort of stand in front of you and stare at you and go,
Mm,
Mom, right?
right.
Like my kids are long grown and adults, of course, but I mean, it would be not uncommon. I have to get my geography homework done. Like,
Yeah.
don't care, don't
Right.
care. But if you have a little bit of a privacy screen, it can really help while you're learning to set those boundaries and say, no, 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 I get to have 100 square feet in this 5,000 square foot home or whatever, right?
I love that invitation. I think it's so fun to have these conversations at, this time of year when you feel like I personally love beginnings. So just think, ooh, anything is possible because we just started. We can do anything. And
Exactly.
so I think this is really great to be able to claim some space, obviously physical space in your house, but claim space in your calendar, claim
Mm,
space in your day to really anchor in, like, what is a practice that the woman you're becoming has, and how can you implement that now? How can we be her now?
agreed. I like this sentence that I heard from David Bear on his podcast, and he said the way he phrases it is, "This is who I am, so this is what I do." So if I'm the woman who has my own space and I set aside time for myself in my day, then what I do is I have my own little space in the side of the room. I do say, no, at this time of the day, I'm sitting and doing my quiet time.
Yeah.
So this is who I am, so this is what I do,
Oh, I love that. Thank you
right?
for that. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah.
You are so easy to talk to. You also have this captivating, yummy voice. Are you an author?
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you do your own Audible?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I was going to say, if you haven't and you aren't, I would love to listen to your book. It's just really, it's beautiful. So I'm so happy that you
You.
are doing what you do, sharing your voice, but your wisdom and knowledge and learning as well. It's a gift to the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you and how we can all listen to the Audible book.
So the easiest place to come and find me is to listen to my podcast. It's called She Coaches Coaches. And Wendy was a guest. She was a guest last August. And so you can go and scroll back and have a listen to her episode where I got a chance to interview her. And it was a wonderful conversation. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me is to come and see my podcast. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Candy Motzek. It's the easiest way.
Perfect. Well, we will link everything down in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time, Candy. It's been a delight.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wrighthouse and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.